This is the intro. Like every time.
I know.
Hey, class.
Hey, everybody. Like, what can I be like? Good morning. Welcome to calculus. All right. Numero uno. What?
Did you get a new projector thingy?
I got a new this.
Are you recording?
I'm recording right now. We're going to see how long this goes. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, that's how, exactly. That's how Sal, whatever his name is.
Don't breach off that.
Yeah. All right, everybody, you need to first know how to sketch all type of graphs. And, you know, I'm going to let you use the calculator. Eventually, I'll take that away, though. But you should know without a calculator how to graph this one and how to graph this one. And so I'm going to go over if you don't remember how to do that. How do you graph? Well, first of all, what is this going to look like? You should all know what that looks like. A line. This is linear. So if you go to graph this, you would start at what would be your y-intercept? 7. Start right there. Your slope is -3, so that means you go down 3 over 1. Down 3 over 1 and graph your line. You could obviously make a table of values, you know, plug a 0 in for x, plug a 0 in for y. Some people will do it that way. So this would be, if x was 0, you could have 4. If y was 0, ooh, you'd have like 3/7 or something like that. I wouldn't want to do that, but, or 7/3, my bad. But anyway, know how to sketch linear, obviously. What is this one? This is quadratic. This is a parabola, and it's been shifted from its parent function of x squared. So where have I shifted it?
Right twice. Left twice. Right twice.
What, Blake?
Oh, down.
Very good, Blake. On the this has been shifted down because the 2 is on the outside. If you are inside the parent, that's where you go right and left if you're outside. So your vertex would actually be at 0, -2. But pretty easy stuff. You'll get that for homework tonight. Can you handle this? Of course you can. Yeah.
Isn't it like, when you do this one, isn't like right 1 up 1 and then right 2 up 4? No parabolas.
Right 1 up 1.
You know what I'm talking about? How to graph it? If you don't want to put it in a table.
I'm just trying to think. Yeah, you could do it that way. Right 1 up 1. And yes, because you would land then at those 2 points there. Oh, just had something come up. All right. The next question in your homework will be, how many x and y intercepts are there? And very easy. So I'm just going to give you a bunch of graphs right now. In this first picture, how many x and y intercepts are there? No x. It's not even touching the x-axis, but it is hitting the y. So there is no x. There is 1 y-intercept. How about this one?
2, 3x. 1 y. 2 1 y.
3x intercepts. That would be right here, here, and here. And then how many y's? Where does it cross the y? 1 y-intercept. Good job. How about this one? 2 y's. Any x's? Surprisingly enough, it will eventually lead off to here somewhere. So you got to be kind of careful. It is going to kind of extend itself probably to hit. You're just seeing a portion of it up to this point. Kind of graph that weird for you, but there is 2 y-intercepts. There's definitely probably going to be 1 x-intercept. What about this one? No x and no y. Okay, so that would be you visually looking at it. So if you're looking at it from a calculator's perspective, always look for those, you know. But then I need you to know how to solve it algebraically. Okay, so we are going to find x-intercepts, write this down. Set the y equal to 0 and solve for x. Okay, so what an x-intercept is always, you have an x value and a 0 for y. That's what an x-intercept is. To find y-intercepts, what would be the difference there? Set the x equal to 0 and solve for y. So yes, you would actually end up with a coordinate 0, comma, some number y. So this is algebraically what we have to do, and you're going to have to do this for some parabolas. You're going to have to do it for all different types of graphs. So let's just kind of go over a couple of these. Let me see if I have, yes. Pull this up. Find x and y. I don't have enough room to squeeze it into the next one, so I'll just leave it right there for now. Okay, so here's what I would do. I kind of split my paper up. Here's my x-intercept, here's my y-intercept. And I give myself a little bit of direction based off of what I just told you. If I'm trying to find an x-intercept, I want my y to be 0. That's what I just wrote up here. So I'm going to plug a 0 everywhere I see a y. So I'm going to rewrite this right here as 0 equals x cubed minus 4x. Do y'all agree with me? And I'm just going to solve this for x right now. So what could you do on this side right here? Factor out what? X, what would you be left with? X squared minus 4. Can that be factored? To what?
X plus 4, x minus 4.
Try again, x minus 2, x plus 2. All right, so then where are my x-intercepts at? 0, 2, and negative 2. If I were to ask you to write them as coordinates on the graph, they would be at, again, 0, 0. Remember, your y is 0, 2, 0, and negative 2, 0. Those are your x-intercepts right there. Plug y for 0. Y-intercept, it's even easier on this one, right? Because y, you just have to make x equal to 0. So if I put 0 in for x and 0 in, and then solve for y, so I would have y equals 0 cubed minus 4 times 0, which is just what, everybody?
0.
That is your only y-intercept. God bless you. All right. Everybody got this down? Let's try a different one because I want to show you one that they're going to give you that's going to be different. Let me freeze it. I can flip it over. Find the x and y intercept for this one. I'll give you a minute.
Is that a 4?
That's a 4. Where am I at? 9 minutes. Wow. And I still have a couple things to do now. We can get this done. All right, so let's see. If I plug 0 in for y to find an x-intercept, I would get negative 4 equals X, wow, that was really hard. Okay. I would like you to write it as a coordinate because an x-intercept is really a point. So -4, 0 is your x-intercept. That's where this is crossing. By the way, anybody remember what this looks like? Y squared?
Sideways parabola.
It is a sideways parabola. Very good. Very good, Cody. Y-intercept, so now you're going to plug in a 0 for x, so you're going to get y squared minus 4 equals 0. There's definitely some factoring involved here. Y minus 2, y plus 2. So y is equal to plus or minus 2. Again, write it as a coordinate. So this would be at 0, 2, and 0, -2. And that makes sense because Cody just said it's a sideways parabola. It's going to cross.
That's what I did. Just like add the fourth square root.
Okay, yes, and you all keep doing this, and I'm okay with you doing it at this point, but really listen to me. You really need to start factoring. You've got to start doing everything in a factored form. You're fine. It does work in this case. But please get into the habit of setting it equal to 0 and doing a factoring process. Yes, but you could have done it that way. It still worked out. All right, now, for my favorite stuff. So at NC State, my lovely friends who just went there, their TA wrote this on the board and literally took half of, I would say, the full board to do it. And I'm going to take way less.
You won't.
I will. The standard form for the equation of a circle. We spent a lot of time on this last year. We did parabolas. Okay. If you don't remember what the standard form is, I'm going to write it out for you. X minus h squared, y minus k squared equals r squared. Anybody remember what the hk is? That's your center. Anybody remember what the r is since we're talking about a circle? Radius. Okay. So this is standard form. You need to be careful on the directions tonight, how they ask you. They're going to ask you, write it in general form, or they're going to write it in standard form. Standard form, leave it like this. General form, we're going to have to do a little bit of foiling. Okay. And I will give you one example right now. Write in general form, so I'm already changing it up on you, an equation of a circle with a center 4, 5, and radius 3. So the first one is really easy. So for all of these equations for circles, you always start it in the standard form. It just is the best way to start it. So looking at this formula right here, which one's my h and which one's my k? H and k. So you're going to plug it in right there and right there. You just leave the formula just like it is. X minus, what's your h? 4 squared plus y minus 5 squared. What is it equal to?
9.
3 squared, which is 9. Now, the problem is they said this right here, general. What does that mean? That means you want to FOIL everything out and set it equal to 0. So you would have to FOIL this out, and I hope you're fast at foiling these by now. If you're not fast at it, I think Miss Davis used to say square, double square, or something like that. But you would, here's the trick. I'll show you the trick to do it. You square this term. You square the last term, which is 16. You multiply these together and double it. So negative 4x doubled is negative 8x. If you don't know how to do that, write it out on the side of your paper and FOIL it. So we'll try it again over here. Square this term, square the last one, multiply them together and double it. Negative 10y equals 9. And then just set it equal to 0. And what you're supposed to do is put your x squareds, your y squared, then your x, then your y, then your numbers at the end equal to 0. That would be considered what they call general. So I would have x squared, y squared, minus 8x, minus 10y. And then what's 16, 25, and then minus the 9 over make? 16, 13? 41, how much is it? 32, I was going to say. I think it's 32. equals 0. Okay, so this standard form. If they had asked for standard form, you would have been done. This general form. So that's one kind of circle equation problem that you'll get. Let me show you another kind. We're coming to the end of this 15-minute lesson. It's getting into 20. Write in standard form, equation for a circle with a center at -2, 1, and a point on the circle, 1, 5. Seems easier, but it's actually not. Let me show you why. What are you missing?
Radius.
The radius. So here's what I've given you. I told you the center is at -2, 1 right here. And then I told you a point on the circle is at 1, 5. So 1, 2, 3, right here. So your circle is like this. So what's this called? Yes, it is the radius, but you need to find the distance. So number 1, you have to find the distance, which is your r, using distance formula. So, and we've been using distance formula. That's all we did yesterday. So it's really easy. Again, subtract your x's, square it, subtract your y's, square that, okay? And then add them together. So what's -2 minus 1 make? 3 squared, which is 9. Subtract these. 1 minus 5 is -4 squared is 16. So what's square root of 9 and square root of 16 make? Square root of, which is 5. Now that is your r. So now answer the question. Write it in standard form. I'm not asking you to FOIL it out. I'm writing it in the correct way. So you would write x minus something squared plus y minus something squared equals your r squared.
Is that not right? Like R 5 minus or 5 plus 2? Like, can't you plug that?
These two?
Can you just plug that point in for x and y like the standard form?
Which? This one? This is the way we're going to plug.
Center, I know that.
But no, you can't just, oh, you mean right here and here?
Yeah.
Nah.
Because.
Well, yeah, you need to find the distance from that point. And you're not really finding. All right, so what would go here?
-2.
Which would actually change it to be what? And then what would be here? All right, and then what's here? Because be careful.
25.
25. 5 squared. 5 squared. All right. And 3 more problems. You thought we were done. I sweetened the deal.
Wait.
I know. I know. What are we getting to this week? We're coming, I promise. There's a lot of circles here that you've got to do.
Are you sure we have time for classroom?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, this class is so.
Drew.
I'm not saying just this class.
I'm really
It's like every class.
Wait, this is the first one. Yes.
What? Dude, I hate block. I'm not a fan of block.
I love block days. Okay. So this is the one I was talking about, the NC State. When I looked at, I got to find the picture. I'll find the picture and show it to you in a minute. This is, remember doing this with all last year in pre-calculus, we did conic sections. Okay, this is a circle. How do I know it's a circle? You have an x squared and a y squared. Okay, you need to complete the square and write it in standard form. Okay, and if you don't remember how to complete the square, I'm going to show you again, remind you how to do it. Okay, right. So first you put all of your x's together. So you write x squared minus 4x plus blank. Then you put all your y's together. Y squared plus 2y plus blank. You remember doing this?
Yeah.
Okay. Take the number, bring it over, change its sign, and because you put 2 blanks here, put 2 blanks here. Okay?
But you don't change the sign when you put it on that side, right?
If it was already on that side, you don't change the
I'm
sign.
saying like
No.
You know,
No.
you have to-
No. All right, so you half it, half the middle, square it would be what? What's half of -4 squared? Put it here and put it here. Half the middle here squared is what?
1.
Here, here. This then is a trinomial that can actually be written as a perfect binomial. What would this factor into? X what? X minus 2 times x minus 2, so we write it as x minus 2 squared. Plus, what would this one be? Y plus 1 squared, and what does it equal?
4.
So you just found the standard form. So if I asked you questions like, what's the center right now? What would you tell me the center of the circle is?
2, 1.
2, -1. Okay, 2, -1. Remember, change the sign. What's the radius?
2.
2. So
It's not 16.
it is not 16 because when you put it in the equation, when you already solve the equation, this is already squared. It's already squared. Good question. Everybody asked that. I do want to do one with, because I know they're going to give you this on homework tonight. I actually think this might be one of the homework problems. Do you know what to do or how to complete the square or remember when it has a 4 in front or a number in front?
Just cancel it out.
You multiply it by
Divide it out. Everything. Okay? But watch what's going to happen. X squared plus y squared plus 5x minus 4y plus 37/4. Okay? And you have got to get better at fractions this class especially. Put all your x's together plus blank. Put all your y's together plus blank. Bring your number over. Plus blank, plus blank. Okay? Now here's going to be an issue, but it happens. What's half of 5 squared?
2.5.
Okay, we'll do it like this though. Do 5 divided by 2 and square that for me. What would that be fraction? 25 over 4. There's a reason I'm doing it like this. Put 25 over 4 here. Couldn't you add those together now? Right? Okay. And then what's half of -4 squared? That one's easy. 2 squared is 4. Okay. Now, a lot of students are like, well, I don't know how to write this as something that's being like, what? I don't know what it was. It's this right here, whatever you took a half of. It's this, x plus 5 over 2. And this one would be what? Y minus 2. All right, so now this side we got to clean up. What does -37 plus 25 make? What's -37 plus 25?
-3.
So it's going to be -3, correct? Plus 4? What's -3 plus 4? 1. Done. Okay. All right, so did I lose anybody here? How did I do this?
Yeah.
-37 plus 25/4 is -12/4. What's -12/4? What's -12 divided by 4? -3 plus 4 is 1. Okay? All right, and then last and final thing, do you know how to remember how to find points of intersection on your calculator? Okay, let me give you a big phrase. Second calc.
Enter.
Good job. I hope so too. We're going to find out in a minute. So if they give you this tonight, solve each one of these for y. I'm going to let you use your calculator because I want to see if you can remember how to do it. This would be x minus 1 equals y. Put this in your calculator. Put this in your calculator. And then do seg cal 5, enter. Where at? No, that's a minus. I didn't.
But yeah.
Anyway, if you want to try it, it's going to be at 1.5.5. Okay. And these are your points of intersection. And that should be it. And now, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to to start. I'll give you like 20 minutes. You should have plenty of time. Yeah, I'll do my sweet deal. Let's stop this. See how this got.